Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to welcome you today to our webinar. Today, we're going to demonstrate how organizations can now transform survey data into strategic advantage. So you could now do this through our AI-powered insights and collaborative decision-making right inside the STS platform. So instead of say, collecting feedback that sits in spreadsheets, we'll show you how to use our Plan Monarch integration and turn those organizational assessments, surveys, et cetera, into actual plans and recommendations. And that'll happen directly within your strategic planning workflow. So, by way of quick introductions, I'm Ben Clayton. I'm the Chief Engagement Officer at STS. With me are Francis Dion, who's our CEO, who'll be leading today's demonstration, and Priya Bains, our CRO, and others here on our STS support and advisory team. So Francis will show you the survey integration in action, plus our latest platform upgrades, which includes custom AI associates and proprietary templates. These are massive upgrades for our platform. So we're really excited to show that to you today. We'll keep this interactive, so please prepare your questions and specific challenges. And thank you again for joining us. So Francis, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Are you seeing my screen?
We are.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So here's a quick agenda for today. So first, I'll put you all to work. I'm going to ask you to write a little bit about your personal experience and expectations, experience in surveys, specifically corporate surveys, and expectations for this webinar. Then I'll give a little bit of background as to what led us to this feature that we're going to be exposing today, and then the setup for the demo, and a little bit of analysis, collaboration, and then insights, feedback, and more. So that's it in a nutshell. As Ben mentioned, we'd like to keep that informative and interactive. And I know there are many people on this call already that have tons of experience in surveys. So excited to see what conversation this will stir up. So let me start by putting that into the chat. So if you can all use that link that I've put on the chat and join my board, or join me on my board, I say. All right. And I have four quick questions for you. So we're gonna spend maybe 3 minutes on that. So don't try to tell your whole life story if you can avoid it. But I'm curious I'm sure all of you have completed plenty of surveys, but what has been your experience? How do you feel about the surveys that you've been asked to answer in the past? If you have anything of relevance, like things that were annoying, things that were amazing, whatever. Have you designed surveys yourself? What tool did you use? What was your experience? Again, the good, the bad, the ugly. Just keep it short, but just a couple of bullet points there would be interesting to give context to the rest of this session. And third question is, have you analyzed survey results before? How was it? What would you have wished for? So what were you trying to get out of those surveys that either you found struggling to get at, or couldn't do it, or maybe it was just perfect and it worked fantastically. But yeah, so if you want to just go ahead, you click on the gray area here. These are the white space here. They are called lists, and in the gray area here, you can type in. When you hit enter, it will create a card for every time you hit enter, and put it there. So. All right, some interesting feedback already. All right, I see Priya is still thinking. You guys are thinking eyes. Okay, interesting. All right. Anyone care to say something over and above what's already been put on the board here? Anything that stands out or anything regarding expectations? So learn and get insights from all of your experience. Wish it was simple to target the right people and have more interactive surveys. Right? So I do have a question about that. And I want to be able to analyze the data and learn enough to take action within the organizational context. Excellent.
Francis, I'll add to that. I put it
Yeah.
in kind of the list just to the left of that. Like for me, when it comes time to analyze it, like the results that come in, the limited ones that I usually get back using like HubSpot or some of these others, it's basically I feel like it's up to me. Like I don't have any expertise in this. I'm guessing at what questions to ask. I'm kind of throwing it out there in a void, hoping somebody will answer. Usually don't get great responses. And then when I do get the responses, then it's kind of like it's up to me to analyze it and figure out what the heck to do with it or what it really even means. So I feel like I'm extremely limited, even if I do have, lots of experience, maybe running a business or, in my own field of expertise, I don't when it comes to this.
Excellent. Thank you, Ben. So I'm gonna move on to a little bit of a background. What did survey of the past did and did not get right? This is my personal take on this. A lot of the surveys from the past had a strong, very strong focus on data analytics. Think pivot table, right? The kind of things like this lady is doing here, looking at charts and bars and really the gist of that when you think about that is truth in numbers. It's what do the majority of the people think about this product or feel about that company, and at best, depending on the how the demographics is designed, you'll get it sliced by groups. Let's say managers versus employees, or North America versus Europe or Asia, whatever. But we're still only dealing with averages. We're dealing with numbers. We're not dealing with the actual what do people think? What do they want? What do they aspire to when they either use our product or engage with our organization or work with us? Uh, because of this focus on data analytics, there's a high reliance on very curated, very clean data, and it's very important. Like let's say that that if we want to do a multi-year study, then we need to ask the same questions every year. Otherwise, it becomes a kind of again, very hard to do the type of statistical data science analysis if things change, right? Which is sad because the reality is that uh, in all of our organizations and certainly the world we live in, we were talking about that before the start of the recording, everything's changed all the time. So how do we collect data and get insights, even if the questions that are interesting might not be the same from one year to the next. When there is open questions, they were often relegated to the bottom of the survey, rather generic, like what else would you like to say to us or whatnot. And the challenge is that there was no way to deal with those open-ended comments at scale. And so employee surveys of the past were very too often tools to demotivate and demobilize, because we were asking people to give us ideas, and then we couldn't do anything with those ideas. So it was kind of like why bother, right? And I've seen that firsthand. Like on a business I was managing before, our HR team had implemented one of those pulse surveys, and after 6 months of asking the same questions over and over again, we got no new insights, and the comments that we got, we couldn't do anything with that, and it was actually hurting our intent, which was to listen to our people and get them engaged. All right, so what does a modern AI-powered survey platform do? So the first thing is that today we're not limited to closed questions anymore. It's open-ended questions all around. And an example here, you see here, I'm asking about, am I receiving enough feedback from my manager? So you have like your typical choices of responses, but for every single questions on a modern survey platform today, I would expect to be able to express myself, to give, like I'm saying, I agree, but I want to say something else. And that but, I think, is where a whole lot of value comes from the people that we're surveying. And before AI, it was really hard to deal with those open-ended answers at scale, but now we can do it. And I think that's a very exciting new development. We can interact with people and let them respond in the language of their choice. So an example here with a bit of a Spanish, but this is actually a real case scenario. You see here, I believe this is Czech. And who can tell me which of these languages is which, the one to the left and the one to the right? All right, so nobody obviously is fluent in Japanese and simplified Chinese. But yes, so today we have the ability to survey people in multiple languages and combine all of those results and analyze that in a consolidated fashion. So I think that's very exciting new capabilities. Yes to analytics, of course. So there are still value in numbers. But also yes to some fancy visuals. Again, these are actual screenshots from our partner for survey integration with STS. But also, and that's the key that we'll be exploring today, is flexible and dynamic interactions and text analysis at scale. Emphasis on at scale. And here's a quick example. As I said, we're going through an actual exercise in this call, but this is actually summarizing responses from almost 1,000 people from multiple countries, and then we can get this kind of manageable insights and bits of information from a platform that leverages open-ended questions and AI. All right. I said before, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to interrupt. So let me show you a little bit of the setup and what we mean by that. So what I created for the purpose of this webinar, I just started up with the pillars, against my opinion. This is not Harvard Business Review content, but the pillars of strategy building are the organization's operating system, people's insight, and what I like to call collective brilliance. So the operating system of an organization, a company or a nonprofit, a project, a team, whatever, is really what are the past strategy plans, financial reports, sales insights, meeting notes, everything that exists within the confine of the organization that we can tap into. And then with that content, the AI can summarize, cross-reference, look for deviations, make informed inferences and suggestions. The second pillar is the people's insight. And obviously, we're going to be focusing on survey responses today, but that also includes like chat sessions, support tickets, inquiries, searches, and interviews. And then we can combine all of that content. And again, the AI can give us like the big picture, but also look for outliers. And that's back to what I said about the data analytic age of dealing with surveys. It used to be that we were looking at trends and averages, but now we can ask AI, what is like, tell me one or two things that are like either unique or like some people that have had a different experience than what the majority of the answers are providing, and then we can delve into that. So looking for outliers, and also account for diverse perspective and report on if how they diverge from one another. Again, not necessarily, although that may include that, but not necessarily from a quantitative perspective, but also the qualitative perspective. And then the collective brilliance is like there's something magical that happens when people get together and engage into action-oriented and strategic co-creation. So essentially, again, it's in certainly in HR departments of the past, there was a lot of we'll send a survey to employees, and then either the HR manager alone in his or her office, or maybe even like a consultant from offsite, will look at everything and then send us a report. But having people interact and with one another, and potentially with AI also in the mix, it does create insight. It's just like bouncing ideas back off one another, actually creates something new and more powerful, and also helps with the getting to that understanding of multiple perspectives, going to both like accelerate and pointing out areas of divergence and convergence, leading to hopefully faster time to consensus, and then keep it real. So making sure that we're not forgetting anything from whether it's the organization's operating system. So are we losing track of the CEO's goal of penetrating this market or achieving these levels of sales or whatnot, and then make it matter also. So turning the decisions into actionable plans. All right, so these are the pillars. As far as the organization's operating system, I gave a few examples before. What I did for this webinar, I kept it fairly simple. So I created a mock company that I called Acme. I'm sure everyone is familiar with Acme. They do fantastic explosive if you want to hunt roadrunners. So essentially, I just created like a mock vision, mission, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, presumably from last year. So the way I did that, I just created a little bit of context in the STS frame here, and then I asked my AI associate to create mock answers for that, and then this is the SWOT that we got from it. So that's an actual SWOT document created off the board I was showing you. So again, it's mock content, but actual functionalities. All right, excellent. So I said like this is just a mock, but imagine that in that board I could also have financial statements from the last 5 years. I could have sales insights from our CRM. Could have audit report, whatever else that we have that's available. Maybe some stuff extracted from our Slack channel or from our SharePoint repository, no matter what. So that's the operating system. And then for the people's insight, again, this is mock data, but it's informed and inspired by actual project that I've conducted. Here, what I did is I basically just created again mock responses from 5 employees and 3 partners for a firm that that is based in the Midwest, and we asked those 3 questions to all of these mock people, just to give you a sense. So essentially, what we're announcing this month with our partnership with Plan Monarch is that when you set up a server like the ones you just saw with the multiple languages, the server responses can be brought back into STS and become available, just like the company's organization's operating system. You can have all of the feedback from the employees and the ratings and the responses, all of that available as context for the AI to work with and work with you on it. So that's it for the setup. Now we're going to go into the interesting component, which is what I call the collective brilliance, is where we actually work with this content. So what I did here is I created 2 AI associates. I'm sorry, we're changing nomenclature here. 2 AI associates, one to which I gave the personality of an AI chief HR officer, the other one being a technology officer. And so I'll give you a couple of examples of the things that I've done. But first, let's see how this was configured. So my chief HR officer has access to the context of this board, but also the Acme mission and vision from last year. So I gave access to the AI. I'm curating essentially what is it that this AI is going to be looking at or taking into consideration when it provides responses. So if you had values or let's say the CEO's 3-year plan for the organizations, no matter what, you can provide that as and make it part of what the AI sees when you ask it questions. And then I just added all the survey responses. And then I picked the chief HR officer. But as you can see, we have a number of other associates that you can tap for that. And then you can ask questions like, for example, let me go back here. What's the overall sentiment of the team in 2 or 3 high-level bullets? And one thing you'll notice is that this is not prompt engineering, like it is, but like it's not like if you've used ChatGPT and have watched those videos and go to that training, you know that in order to get good answers, you need to provide very, very detailed questions. Here, because the way we use STS and the data that I've set up with the operating systems and the people's inside, I can ask very simple questions and have this kind of answer here. So you see highly positive about Acme's culture, desire for further investment in people, and there's some client service ambition also. And then, so that was a fairly wide-ranging and generic question, but I can now ask instead, contrast the overall sentiment of the team members, the non-partners versus the partners. And again, for brevity, I'm asking it to keep it to 2 or 3 high-level bullets. And I can ask that question, and then I have the answer that will come from that AI looking at that perspective. And now you see here the non-partners they feel valued and supported, but they want more career progressive, as opposed to the partners that they have obviously a positive outlook on the company, but they are concerned about external brand and investment. So again, like various perspective. One of the things that you can do is right now I'm letting the AI access the entirety of my survey because it was a small one, but I could also make it so that it only looks at some slice. Let's say if I had like 500 employees instead of just 5, then maybe I could ask it to just look at employees or look at all the employees that have been working at the company for less than 2 years, whatever whichever way I can slice that. And I can either let the AI do the slicing for me. So I rephrase that, and I'm gonna just go to what's the overall sentiment of the partners. Right. So right now, and then I'm gonna ask who are they? I'm not sure if that's gonna actually, who are the partners and what's their overall sentiment. So you see, in that case, what I'm doing essentially, and again, like that's where this is very different from a data science perspective. Instead of having to go in and complex queries on gigantic Excel spreadsheet or SQL database, I can just ask the AI. So like who are my partners and what's their overall sentiments? And then the AI goes through the answers and identify correctly the three partners here, Linda Berger, Tom Griffith, and Mark Vasquez. Again, fake people here. But these are the three partners on the survey, and the AI just picked them up out of the 8 respondents. It picked up the correct one. So that's the kind of thing that the AI can do a lot of the heavy lifting that you had to do manually, or had a data scientist or a database administrator or someone with technical knowledge do that type of work for you. Now you can just ask AI to do the slicing. And if you have any concern or question or whatnot, because AI being AI, 80% of the time it's great, 20% it's losing its ways sometimes. So let's say Linda, Tom, and Mark. So I'm going to just go back here and look at my survey here, and what do I have? Sorry, for the scrolling here, the partners, I think at the bottom. And then I have Mark, which is a partner, and I have Tom, which is a partner, and I have Linda, which is a partner. So the AI just looked at the data and said, yeah, these are the 3 partners, and then looked at their answers and says, this is how they feel about the business. And I got that by just asking, who are the partners? What's their overall sentiment? So once you've set it up, once you've provided the STS, in the STS, once you provided to the AI access to the organization's operating system, your survey responses, maybe your directed structured interviews, whatever else that you want to analyze, then the AI can do all kinds of different things. So for example, I could ask, how do the people answers not align with the company's mission statement, right? So let me just double check. I have given access to the AI to the mission. And so now I'm asking, look at the survey responses, and are there any gaps, essentially, right? Again, like the kind of things where I have my survey, but I also have this other context, this other information, which is my operating system, that I called it. And then you see here, there's something about the professional development and career pathing that does not completely align, like what we've said in our strategic retreat review of last year does not seem to be how people from the trenches are experiencing working with us and inside our organization. So this is, again, like the kind of things that AI is immensely superior to most human brains. Some polymath exceptions there, but most people cannot easily look at dozens or hundreds or thousands of comments and keep their sanity while trying to remember which were the 17 points on the CEO's action plan from last quarter. But the AI can do that very effectively. And then you can always go back and check the data and make sure that there are no hallucinations or whatnot. And then I did something similar, but instead of asking the HR officer, I asked for the chief technology officer, what do you recommend in 2 or 3 short bullets? And then point to a few specific relevant employee or partner feedback with their name with respect to your recommendation. There's an important aspect here is that surveys can be anonymous or not anonymous. And then our survey partner and STS can support both mode. There are a lot of, like, personally, I encourage people to use non-anonymous surveys as much as possible if what they want is to use the survey as an opportunity to start a genuine dialogue with employees. But sometimes, especially when there are some strains and there are concerns about management performance or the company or the directions or whatnot, then you go to anonymous. And then SCS and our partner were very focused on making sure that the private data stays private, and we can even make so that different people, like and that's an actual use case I had, where there was a company that was acquired, and the HR person from that company that was acquired has been reporting to the same boss for many years. So when analyzing employee feedback, it was important to make sure that the anonymity of the responses would not be jeopardized by a too fine-grained ability to slice and dice the content based on, like if you have 5 people in marketing, but they each work in a different office, and you can slice by department and office, then you know who said what, right? And so we have developed through experience strategies to preserve anonymity while also allowing for important insights to be derived from the data and the responsible slicing of that data. Comment, feedback, questions? Anyone?
Chris?
Just from a practitioner's point of view, we've been doing change management and planning with organizations, facilitation for decades. This is real white hair. It's not a new wash. And that always involves finding out what people think and surveying, therefore, people to see where everybody's coming from. And it can be an executive team of 5, or it can be 500 people in different segments. And I would strongly reinforce what Francis is saying, that using human intelligence to try and align and pull through the topics that are coming from the responses to a lot of open questions would take somebody a week and go through, in my case, at least 5 bottles of a good red wine in order to be able to get to the result. Whereas in using AI, it really is, you can just press a button. And I think traditionally we've become over fond of statistical significance in a survey. And partly, I think, because we have been unable to organize and sort material coming in from open questions. And actually, we're just doing one right now for a client. And we say, look, we use these for agenda setting. We want to know what to discuss. We want to know what to bring forward. We're not too worried whether it's statistically significant or not. We're putting it on the table, and then we can have a good discussion and see whether it is important. We have just, on the one we're working on right now, quick question: what are the top 3 topics which come through from these answers? Number 1. Number 2, provide 3 quotes that people said to illustrate what these different topics are. all of that to help create consensus and understanding, at least between members of the group. Last point, we're now being sent stuff by clients that they got from SurveyMonkey, but they can't analyze it. They just got a whole great long list of comments, which go on forever. And so it comes to us to do. Last small technical point, if we are in the least bit worried, we anonymize by creating a generic name for the client. So we frequently use Lucena because we do a lot of work in not-for-profit organizations. And so somewhere, somebody is building an enormous great AI file on Lucena, which doesn't exist because when we download the results, we can just do the name change. So it really is, from a surveying point of view for a change management facilitator, this really is game changing.
I believe it is. I believe it is. And like just the examples that you pointed out, I think are, like asking for quotes, asking for the outliers, as I said also before, right? Again, moving away from the averages and going into what do the comments on the fringe tell us that's real about our organization? So, great insights.
Francis, could you talk a little bit about the updates to STS in terms of like actually training or configuring the associate to something that's specific to the company as opposed to say choosing the chief AI or technology officer?
Yeah, sure. So the two associates that I'm using here are completely generic ones. But then one thing that AI allows us is customization at scale. And so with STS, we support that also where, depending on your subscription to the STS platform, you have the ability to create your own associate, which has access to potentially sensitive corporate data or something that is proprietary, something that ChatGPT does not know about, but that you want your own AI to be taking into consideration. And we've made it very, very easy for anyone to create their own associates. Let me see. I'm going to try and create one on the fly. Priya, do you think I'm crazy?
Oh no.
I know you can do it.
All right, so let's call it cultural advisor, right? And I'm going to say something very, very generic here, advisor. You are you are an advisor with a focus on diversity and inclusion. I'm not sure if you're popular these days, but that's what I'm going to go with. And inclusion, striving to provide, I'm just making things up here, right? Striving to provide opportunities for all. Like whatever. And then what I'm going to say is that I'm going to turn this into an AI associate you see here. And now when I go to, instead of the CTO, and I have my cultural advisor that I just created, right? And then I've picked it, and then I can now do, and like, think of what I just did here that was fairly simplistic, but that could be very long. Think of it as this is where you could do like the actual heavy lifting prompt engineering. This is if you've dabbled with GPTs, the way that OpenAI allows you to create reusable prompts, essentially. So this is very similar to that. It's just like just available just like that. And then just what would you recommend? What would you recommend?
So this is like your own company's IP or your own company's processes or ways
Yeah.
to handle these kind of maybe sensitive or important issues that are specific to your.
I'm gonna go. I'm curious to see what my cultural advisor is gonna do, but after that, I'm gonna change it to something funnier.
The other thing you can do with this is because we've already provided the personas, you could take our HR advisor and combine it with your
Yep.
company data. So you'll have our background customized HR advisor working with your specific data.
And now what I wanted to do also, I'm gonna call it a funny advisor, and then find ways to link responses, survey responses to the number 42. You find ways. You always. So that's a bit of a silly example, but so you see now, you see that it's changed. I changed the name here. It changed here. It's now a funny advisor. And then what would you say? Right? And so again, like it's a crazy, stupid idea, but that gives you a sense of like you can really like, and then you can provide it instead of that. You could provide it. We had someone earlier, I'm not sure if they're still with us at this point, but that is doing your financing for sustainability projects. So you could have your advisors could have a list of all the technologies that you want to prioritize, and then when you analyze whether it's survey responses or a business plan from a company that you want to invest in or whatever else, then your sustainability advisor could use your list, not a generic list, but your specific list for your organizations of all the technologies that you are especially interested in. And then that's the lens that the AI is going to use when looking at the company's operating system. I don't know if it found anything. Oh, that one's not bad. Her job satisfaction is at a solid 42 out of 42. Woohoo! And you can't achieve operational excellence at just 41. So yeah, that's AI humor.
Francis, I'm just curious. Can you link back to the board with Sarah's response? Like ask the AI so that if I could click next to Sarah's response, I could click directly into the board where Sarah's original response was. If we
Not
ask,
in this version, but that's where we're heading. Yes.
okay.
Great. That's great. Like your source.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
So right now, what you can do is you can ask the AI to give you like who or what employee number or whatever other ways that you have to trace back. But eventually, where we want to go is that you can actually drill through and come back to the source material up to wherever the limits have been put in terms of anonymity. So maybe it's sanitized version, or maybe it's raw data from the survey, depending on what privacy settings you've implemented, and then move back out and back to the analysis platform. And then everything that I've done here with the AI associates, obviously, like the idea here would be to take some of those more serious ideas and then put them here and then start brainstorming, and everyone can create their own cards and look at what's there, modify it, come up with new ideas, and get to that consensus building and that brilliance that I referred to.
Yeah, that's where you start actually actualizing like the results. Just like you're planning. I mean, normally when we use our tool, we're using it for strategy and planning, and then leaning towards taking action. Same thing with the survey results here. So it's not just about just getting the results from a survey and analyzing them. It's actually taking action and putting it into a plan.
Yeah.
Francis, Warwick is asking if he can have a team of advisors. Can you go through that?
you're talking about like there's a couple of ways that this can be done. One, I can have multiple of those associates side by side and then ask them the same or different questions. But also, you can create an associate that's actually a team, and that will take all of these perspective in terms and then provide you with much more elaborate answers. And eventually, what we want to get to is a point where you can actually compose your team on the fly and just the same way that here I checked which survey responses I wanted to look at and what part of the organization's operating system I wanted the AI to consider. Then imagine that I could also select any number of my advisors here, and then they would essentially talk to one another, interact, and then come back with their combined best answer. And then this is all whether it's chaining or more of an agentic type of an inquiry.
And we do have a C-suite board if you want to show that, Francis. You don't need to, but there is a board that shows multiple advisors.
Well, I mean, we're already past the time allocated for the webinar, so I don't want to go over time too much by out of respect for the people's agenda. But that looks like something we can do at another another webinar.
I think so.
All right. Maybe just final thoughts. If you do, let me just put that back into the chat. So that's the board I've been using. If you want to just take a minute and give us your feedback here. What I did is I already connected that AI to the expectations that we filled out at the beginning of the webinar. So if you want to take a minute and nobody will see your name once you hit enter. I would appreciate to know if you thought this was helpful, instructive, amusing. I'm talking about the AI here, not myself. And then obviously, if you'd like to hear more about how to do that within your organizations or with your clients, Priya now has a new email address, which is solutions@sts42.com. So if you're looking for solutions, write us and she will answer.
Yes, I will.
All right. So anyone has questions, comments? You can continue typing into the link that I provided into the how did we do section on the right. And when you follow the link, you'll get here. And then if you scroll to the right, there's a frame here, the gray area, and there's a white space for the participation feedback. And then I'm going to be looking at what the AI thinks. Although I don't think we're going to have thousands of comments, so maybe I can just read them and still use my brain. Currently, it's still a thing in 2025.
Got a comment in the chat in Zoom.
All right. Are there any final questions as we start to wrap and you're entering your thoughts? Make sure we capture any thoughts or take it all.
Warwick, that's interesting. If you'd like to give a try to cloning your experts in STS, would love to see what you think of the experience doing that.
Yeah, I'll try that because I've found an SEO expert and a couple of consulting experts that I've combined, and then I'm basically throwing questions at them. So I could actually do this with STS, right?
Yeah. So the associates, the way I showed it to you is very similar to what you would accomplish. It's just on top of that, you can choose one or the other and pick and really curate what content they're looking at in terms of the context of what they want to consider and not consider, as opposed to having to start over a new chat when they get confused, which is the usual experience with ChatGPT.
Yes, all I did was basically load up our resources from each of those three people and kind of set that up as an advisory setup. So again, I could do the same with this, right?
Yes, you can. And you can have them talk to each other and argue with each other if you want.
Okay.
All right. This board is available. Feel free to explore it and everything that you have access to when you navigate back from here and then see how I've set it up. As I said, it's all fake data based on real ideas.
For being on this webinar, you do have access to this, so you could actually make a copy for yourself and use it on your own, not just within the webinar teams. That's one benefit of being on this.
All right.
Great.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Francis. Thanks everyone for being here.
And we'll
Thank
put
you.
the video up on YouTube for anyone who wants to review it as well.
Great. Be up by tomorrow. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.